Well, I tell you, look at the issue right now of CO2 reductions that have gone on in our country thanks to American innovation. You realize our CO2 emissions as a result of energy are down 12% over the last 10 years. However, overall CO2 emissions related to energy in the world are up 24%. And here's an important area where Steve Bullock and I disagree. He wants us to be part of the Paris-China climate accords. I don't think we should. We need to be holding China accountable. What that accord does is it holds the U.S. accountable, and when we are already reducing our CO2 emissions. So we're off to a good start. But this has got to be, we've got to have a multi-prong approach as it relates to our energy portfolio. I know I heard him talk about wind and solar, and I think progressing towards more renewables is a good thing. But I'm not afraid to talk about the fact we need to keep coal, oil, and natural gas in this all-of-the-above energy portfolio. We cannot make the mistakes that California has made. They moved everything to wind because of liberal governors, liberal leadership. They shut down their nuclear reactors. And what's happening in California right now? They're having massive rolling blackouts and brownouts as well as wildfires. Now, addressing the issue of wildfires, this takes bipartisan cooperation. It took me a year, but I got Dianne Feinstein, a Democrat from California, to work with me, a Republican from Montana, on one of the most comprehensive forest management reform piece of legislation that we've yet to see in the United States Congress. We introduced that together just about a month ago. This is really good news, and that's how you actually get an outcome instead of a press release.
Gentlemen, we have just enough time for one more follow-up just on this particular topic. So Governor Bullock, we'll start with you.
The Paris-China Accords, I think that's the first time I've ever heard you say something bad about China, Senator Daines. You made your money over there, and you've supported those tax breaks along the way for those companies that outsource their jobs as well. And look, this shouldn't be a partisan issue. This is an opportunity to invest in technologies, create good jobs, not leave any communities behind. But I think you can't address a problem if you don't even acknowledge that it exists. Senator Daines has his head in the sand and his hands in the pockets of like $1 million of oil and gas contributions along the way. He's voted time and time again for me to acknowledge that climate is impacted by human beings. Heck, even Mitch McConnell will acknowledge that. So let's actually work together to meet the requirements to save our planet, create good jobs, invest in new opportunities, and not leave communities behind.
Final word to Senator Daines.
Sure. Well, I'm a chemical engineer by degree. I've studied the sciences. Humans play a role in terms of variable in climate change. There's no doubt about it. The question is, are we going to disarm this economy and move forward like the Green New Deal with Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, and Steve Bullock back in Washington, D.C.? I say no. You know, one of the judges that Steve Bullock has supported is a judge that stopped the Keystone Pipeline. This is a big issue. It's about the courts. That is why this Supreme Court nomination is such a big deal for Montana. We cannot have judges that intervene on these timber projects across Montana. These are judges that Steve Bullock supports. They're liberal judges that enjoin with these lawsuits to stop healthy forest management timber thinning projects. We've got one of these right behind my hometown of Bozeman there in our watershed. It's ridiculous we can't get back there and thin these trees, reduce the risk of wildfires. That's what happens if you elect Steve Bullock to the United States Senate. You get these liberal judges on the bench. And it's the Ninth Circuit Court that's been probably one of the greatest problems we have faced here in Montana as it relates to our Montana way of life.